What's going on, boxing fans? Julian Williams here with The Distance. Got a prediction video for you guys on Meehan versus Ruslan Chagaev. Heavyweight matchup takes place May the 22nd in Germany. Puts together former WBA heavyweight champion against former, Ruslan Chagaev against former contender and challenged in the past for the heavyweight championship. Meehan. Overall, it's interesting to say the least because you have two fighters coming off of layoffs. Chagaev, hasn't fought since June 20th against Vladimir Klitschko when he was knocked out in the ninth round, and Meehan hasn't fought since like August of 2008. But at the same time, before Meehan kind of took his time off, he was practically a part-time fighter. He didn't really fight much. I think he's fought like 4 or 5 times since he fought Hasim Rahman and then knockout loss, and he's kind of had a string of knockout and stoppage victories before he took that layoff. But overall, I think it's interesting because you have two fighters coming off of layoffs, but I think that it does look good on Chagaev's in since he's coming into the ring again after his first loss, against another guy who's had a layoff. But overall, hopefully, these 11 months off for Chagaev is good for him, because with Ruslan Chagaev, I think that he was having trouble with his body. He had hepatitis. He had hepatitis, and he had multiple injuries over the last couple years. So maybe in this fight, his body's healed enough to where he's somewhat replenished and can possibly fight to his full potential. And it doesn't take away from the victory from Vladimir Klitschko, because Vladimir Klitschko practically dominated him and pretty much Klitschko showed that he was on another level in that fight. But Ruslan Chagaev, overall, really good heavyweight boxer. Some think differently of him because of who he's fought, and me, I do think that Chagaev is a good boxer. I've always been a fan of Chagaev, and I believe the second southpaw to become a heavyweight champion. I think he does have good boxing skill. I think he has some good power as well. So what does he need to do in this fight against Meehan? The number one thing that Chagaev needs to do in this fight is stay away from Meehan's right hand. He needs to stay away from it. We saw it in the Klitschko fight. He had trouble protecting himself against the right hand. And we've seen in a couple of Chagaev fights when he had trouble protecting himself from the right. In the Ruiz fight, he had trouble protecting himself, and it's the trouble with a lot of southpaw fighters. A lot of southpaw fighters have trouble protecting themselves from the right. And Chagaev in this fight needs to protect himself from the right hand, primarily move to his right. With Chagaev's stance, Chagaev usually has his right foot in front of him. He doesn't, but with that type of stance, he does I think he kind of trots very slowly to the left. I think he moves very well to his right, because pretty much his jab is from his right hand, since he's a southpaw. All of his power is in his left, and primarily he does need to move to his right side in this fight, away from Meehan's right hand, because Meehan he does throw he throws combinations, but he swings I think he has different variations of how he swings, and he does come in with power shots. And sometimes Meehan has a jab or puts the left hand out there to kind of set up the right, or set up certain combinations or his variations of swinging. But overall, Meehan's a fighter who himself has trouble protecting himself from the right hand. And in this fight, Chagaev needs to stay. I think he needs to stay in close to Meehan. I think he needs to stay in close. I think he needs to shorten up his punches on the inside. And Chagaev does a good job of shortening up the punches. I think a double left hook, a double right hook. And also, he does need to kind of get the hands down, because Meehan throws a very good left hook to the body. Very good left hook to the body. So he does kind of need to get his shots off, put the hands down, and kind of protect himself from that hook to the body that Meehan likes to throw. And when Meehan misses, kind of come from the other side with a right or left hook, and kind of counter him off of that, time him, counter him, because and also Chagaev can do the same thing that Rahman and Danny Williams did, and that's overpower him. See, Hasim Rahman is a fighter who I do think was just a very strong heavyweight. I think he's a very strong heavyweight, and he was able to kind of overpower, and get on the inside and just rough up Meehan and win that fight. Danny Williams, I think Danny Williams had some good timing. He timed them well, and came in, he roughed them, and I think he didn't necessarily rough him up, but he came in and he hit him with two well-timed right hands. He's been Layman Brewster, very close fight. When Layman Brewster was hurt, we all seen that 8th round. It's here on YouTube. When Layman Brewster was hurt, we saw Meehan swing for the fences, and we saw him with the different variations, but Brewster wasn't countering, and I think that Chagaev needs to counter if Meehan starts to throw those wide combinations. I think Chagaev needs to counter. Meehan, Cali Meehan in this fight needs to kind of to fight tall and needs to throw the right hand. Meehan, I think that we saw this in the Klitschko fight. Chagaev, when you're jabbing at him, he stands there. He kind of has a little bit of shoulder movement. He moves side to side with the shoulders, but when you're jabbing at him, that's when his movement kind of stops. And Meehan needs to stiffen up his jab a lot more in this fight. He does need to throw that overhand right. He throws a very good overhand right, and he does. And also, Meehan, who doesn't necessarily have the best footwork in the world, I think Meehan wants to kind of keep somewhat of a range from Chagaev, because one thing that he doesn't want Chagaev to do is get inside, because if Chagaev gets inside, then I think he can box with him very well on the inside and outpower him on the inside. And Meehan I think he does throw some wild shots. Don't get me wrong, he does throw wild shots, but he kind of, like I mentioned, he changes up those variations. And when those variations change, it can confuse a fighter. Cause say he throws a few wide right hooks, and I've actually seen him throw a very wild overhand right against Williamson, knock him out, and that clip's here on YouTube as well. He'll throw a very wild overhand right, and also I've seen him throw that bolo punch that Kid Gavilan from the early 1950s through. I've seen him throw that type of punch. He just throws different variations of punches and different types of combinations. But in this fight, he does want to keep range from Chagaev. Stay on the outside and use the left jab to keep his space, to kind of make room for him to get his power shots off. And if he can keep Chagaev on the outside and not let Chagaev get in, he can take this fight. And that's only if he uses the jab to keep a distance, keep a range, so that he can fire off his power shots, and also throw the right hand. Both fighters, need to throw the right hand in this fight, because both fighters, have trouble protecting themselves from right hands. But Meehan more so than Chagaev, though Chagaev is the southpaw boxer. If I have to make a call for this fight, I'm gonna go with Ruslan Chagaev. I think Ruslan Chagaev could win this fight by I'm gonna say 11th round knockout. I think he can knock out Meehan in the 11th round. I think that Chagaev is gonna come back revived and replenished, after his year off from the ring. So I'm gonna go with Chagaev 11th round knockout. But anyway, that was the distance. Thanks for watching. Peace.